absolutely correct.
Yeah, it's there, you know, the word is there, and then it's development and that kind of stuff. It says after you go through the fire and after you go through the flood, the Lord bring you out into a wealthy place.
That's right. Isaiah, the book of
Yeah,
Isaiah talks
yeah,
about.
yeah. You have to take some time. You gotta go through some things. You have to go through some ups and downs and some battles and some struggles. Once you don't lose your head and lose your mind and know what you're standing on, you would be fine.
That's right.
But you gotta keep going. You know, yeah, a lot of kids look at me and they say, oh, Coach Roy, this and Coach Roy, and I explain, I say, you really don't know. You don't understand.
You know the analogy that I use, Anthony?
Yes.
I use the analogy of a plane flight.
Right.
You're flying from New York to California.
Right.
And you experience some terrible turbulence. You know, the plane is just dancing all over the place.
Right.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna jump out the plane? Is the pilot gonna turn around and go back? Because if he does that, you gotta go back through the same turbulence you just went through. So you just gotta sit there, stick it out, do what you got to do with the understanding that there's something much more meaningful and something that's worth it at the end of the turbulence. You're going to California. You know, that's how I look at it sometimes.
True. You gotta stick it out. And this is for the kids. You know, I have some kids. I have a number of kids leaving Trinidad. By the way, I have 2 kids leaving St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Your beautiful islands just now, 2 sisters heading out. One going to I think it's Stony Brook or Harrison University, and the other one going to junior college. I know the younger one contacted me just the other day and said, Coach, I also need a female goalkeeper too. So I'm working on that too for them. And then
I have to say, sorry, Anthony.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
My younger brother,
yes.
My younger brother is the national team coach for our female under 17. In fact,
then we need to talk. We need to talk.
Yes,
because
I will give you his contacts.
Yes, yes.
We talk off air, but he's a good person to speak to. Yeah, he's the national under 17 female head coach.
That'll be good because I'm always looking for that kind of connection because as I mentioned numerous times on the show, it's not a lack, and you've been here before. There's not a lack of opportunities. There's a lack of people prepared to take advantage of the opportunities, and there's no lack of opportunities in here. Like for instance, when we was talking about hanging in there and being faithful and staying in there, I remember working with a particular club up here for close to 4 years. I worked with that club, and that club is about close to 45 minutes an hour drive to get there and then to come back home. And I remember coming back home sometimes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the night, and the snow and all that kind of stuff. And I'm coming home by myself, coaching that team. And then an incident happened with the club. And you know, the people I thought would have stand for me, they didn't stand up. You know, they didn't stand up at all. They didn't say anything. And I remained quiet. I was disappointed. And I have to be honest with you, I was really disappointed after putting in all that work, because I started with that team from a travel team, and then I brought them up. They were a premier team, and that team started ranking in some of the top teams in top 200 or so, 100 and something. And I really put in work with that team after 4 years of working with those kids and encouraging and motivating. And what caused the problem is that is a kid that I brought in from a screening, end up coming and doing some kind of stuff, and then it happened, you know, one thing lead to another, it happened, and I remained quiet. And then I sent back a note and I said, guys, I want to thank you so much, but I think you know, today is a day that I think I need to say bye-bye. I need to tell you guys thanks. I need to tell you guys I appreciate you. You guys, I've worked with you guys. I've spent 4 years, you know, of your life with you and my life with you. And I've really served you guys. In the snow, I've come out, in the, you know, in the heat, I've come out, in the rain, I was there with you. And I've been there with your parents, but it's time to walk away. And that same feeling that you talk about just now came across to me, Anthony, what you're going to do next.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It can be very consuming. I
Oh
also
yes.
recall
Oh yes.
when I
Oh
when
yes.
I was
Oh yes.
when I was doing my masters at Old Dominion,
Right.
I became director for a youth soccer club
Right.
in Norfolk, Virginia. You know, and some of the different age group coaches, they were a little bit resistant, if I can use that, because you know, here's this young boy just out of university. How could he be director of the club? I even coached a high school girls team in Norfolk, Virginia, and I think it was after 13 years I took them to regionals.
Right.
We won regionals and went on to state and lost in the quarterfinals of state. You know, but I know the challenges, and back then, I mean, I don't think the challenges was as great as they are now. Back then, it was good old school, you know, in person, face to face interaction. Now everything is social media. If depending on how you position yourself to communicate with your players, people can misinterpret that and the video record. I mean, it's just
big time.
So many things you gotta deal with, you know?
Big time. I just I think what came through my mind is I listened to TD Jakes I spoke about something at a time where TD Jakes was saying, Lord, you bring me to a place. How could you let this happen to me? And let this happen to me this way. And what he said, I keep walking. I keep walking. And I heard that voice and I said, Anthony, you keep walking. And I said, it's time for me, it's time. Let me keep walking. And I stared myself in the mirror, say, Anthony, what you gonna do next? And I said, look, Lord, you have me here. You brought me here. And you know this day was coming before it even happened. So you know, I know, and my relationship with you, and I can look back over, and you spoke about the same thing just now, over your track record behind you. You know the different things that happened and what he brought you out of. So I continue walking. And now I look back at it and I say, Lord, thank you so much for what that is happening right now. Because now that I'm here and I'm coaching, it's just more teams now that I could even coach.
Yeah. And that's why it's important as well. That's why for me, it's important that parents and student athletes or athletes who aspire to be you know, college players or whatever, it's important that they really listen to what you tell them as coaches, especially in our case, whereas you know, we have been through this. You know, and the sacrifices that we make, I think the very least that parents and athletes can do, youngsters can do, is to trust us and give us the benefit of the doubt, you know, and try to take the advice and the teaching. Not that we don't listen as well, because we are also learners, you know, and that's how the process of development, the process of education takes place. But it's really challenging sometimes, you know. But I would not trade my experience for anything in the world, man. I thank God every day. I said, God, man, you just mapped out the perfect life for me, you know. And
I think the thing about it too, the thing about it too is, Fitz, is when you're going through the process.
Yeah.
When you're going through the process, and that is where the loyalty that you mentioned comes in. That is where that faithfulness and that belief comes in when you're going through the process. And this is what you got to remember. You are going through the process. You are not standing still in the process. You are moving physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. You are moving in the process. And eventually, the skies are going to clear, the sun is going to come out, and then you're going to look back and then you realize, you know, I'm a stronger person for this. I thought it was going to kill me. I thought I couldn't make it through this process. Here I am today. I got through that. And that is just the way how it works. He builds you up, he strengthens you through the process so you can deal with tougher tests, because the higher you go is the more battles you deal with. Like yourself, now you're representing a community, you're representing people. You know the challenges that is going to come. The Lord was getting you ready when he picked you up from where you were and took you to the US and dealing with different situations, like how you mentioned the coach was just moved from under you. It taught you loyalty and commitment, where you could stand up and say, look, no one is you know, loyal to this, and I believe in this, and I'm going to stick with this because it's the right thing. You can take that back now where you are when you sit in parliament, or you sit among your constituency or your community, and you believe in something that you could pass that information on to them. They can see, look, this is somebody that was loyal to something. He passed through something to gain or to attain what he has right now. He didn't get up in the morning and get it. He been through the fire and he been through the floods. And these are the kind of stuff we want to get through to the kids. But Coach Fitz, MP Fitz, I want to talk to
you. Before you go, as you,
yes.
you spoke back those last very important comments, and I'm sitting here and I'm smiling to myself because my son and I, Opong and I, we've had numerous conversations. I mean, this kid, I'm so proud of him. You need to get him on this program, man. He's phenomenal. He's not because he's my son, but you know, he's man. And you know, the young kids, I think, would relate to him very well because he's young.
That is critical. We would talk about it because I would love it, because what I'm doing too, I'm bringing back a lot of athletes that I have in school right now. I'm bringing a lot of them from different walks of life to come on the set so they can relate to the kids. They could explain to them through the transition, the peer pressure that they are dealing with. They are walking amongst that crowd right now, so they can explain, look, this is what we are dealing with, this is how it's happening. And then you have all the different social medias, the different things around. How do kids handle that kind of stuff in terms of their development and, you know, the transition from the Caribbean region to the US? So that is something we would look at. I will hold you to that too, to be able to chat with him. I will hold you to chat with your brother too, because I'm having a lot of discussions right now too with a lot of principals in schools. I'm having a lot of conversations with community leaders too. I'm having a lot of conversations too with top coaches and technical directors to be able to get all these different kids together. We have the kids in the Caribbean. The issue is that we need to be able to build that bridge where we can bring the kids who want the opportunity and bring the opportunity and bring it in hand, so we could get more kids out, get them their education, develop them, and that will also help the Caribbean region greatly.
And if there's anyone, you know, if there's anyone who wants to contact me directly or personally, you know, if they want to talk, you know, anything like that, feel free to share my information with them as well. Beautiful.
I would share it inside of the WhatsApp group. For those of you who are listening, WhatsApp group 954-380-4829, 954-380-4829, Anthony Roy. Fitz, I want to thank you so much, man, for giving us some of your time, your expertise, your information, some of the battles that you came through. And now that you look back at the battles, you're even stronger. Thank you so much for running the race too, and finishing the race. This is critical, because we need to be able to see people physically, see them after they come through the tests and the trials, and see where they're at, and they can talk to you about the different things that they're doing now. These are critical and important things that we could point fingers and say, this is a gentleman that came through it. He had his doubts. He had to leave his family behind. He had to go to the US and settle in a new environment, make new friends, get himself together. He did it. I can do it too. And a lot of these kids have more support than we had when we were young. Well, it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure. And, you know, I still play the game. I still play. The other day I was joking after St. Vincent took a beating. We took a good beat down from Guatemala and then from Cuba. And I said, man, looks like I got to take out my gloves and get back between the goal posts. Beautiful, man. You know, yes. But it's my pleasure, Anthony. And
you know, I'm here. Anything I can do to help, I'll be delighted to, man.
Thank you so much, man. Godspeed to you and your family. Much success to you guys and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Blessings to our neighbors, Caribbean neighbors there too. And thank you so much for giving us of your time.
And blessings to you and everyone on the program as well. Take care.
Much received, guys. Have a wonderful day. Until we meet again, in God's willing. Godspeed. Bye-bye.